All right, everybody, welcome back to another night of coverage of war in the Ukraine. I am your host, Andy Mercado. I've been covering this war since the beginning. This is day 145 for July 18th, 2022. Drop a comment in the Facebook chat, drop a comment in the YouTube chat. How is everybody doing on this Monday night here at 8:07 p.m., 7 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour? I'm live on Facebook, live on YouTube. How is everybody doing here? Let's get into it. As the algorithm's getting out there, as the stream's firing up, I'm going to read some world news headlines of things that are going on around the world before we really dive into Ukraine, as you guys are populating on into the stream, commenting, getting ready to go here. For July 18th, 2022, a gunman who shot 5 people at a suburban Indianapolis shopping mall, killing 3 of them before a shopper shot and killed them, was a 20-year-old local man who was apparently facing eviction, authorities said on Monday. Jonathan Sapirman of Greenwood began firing after leaving a bathroom at the Greenwood Park Mall shortly before it closed Sunday evening, the city's police chief James Ison said in a news conference. Sapirman continued shooting people until he was shot and killed by 22-year-old Elisjsha Dicken of Seymour, a city about 45 miles, which is 72 kilometers, south of Greenwood, who was shopping with his girlfriend, Ison said, calling Dicken's quick action nothing short of heroic. Steve Bannon, who had once served for former President Donald Trump's chief strategist, goes on trial Monday for defying a subpoena from the House Select Committee's investigating of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Bannon was indicted in November on 2 counts of contempt of Congress after he failed to appear for a deposition before the committee or provide requested documents in response to a subpoena. He has pleaded not guilty. Hello, everybody. Way to go. Way to check in. What up, F. Mertz? Hello from Iowa. What up, Laney? Everybody keep checking in. Drop a comment as we're coming on in here. The outgoing director of the Bureau of Prisons has been subpoenaed to testify before a Senate committee examining abuse and corruption in the beleaguered federal agency. Michael Carvajal was served a subpoena to appear at a hearing later this month. The subpoena was announced Monday by Senator John Ossoff, the chairman of the U.S. Senate Permit Subcommittee on Investigations. The committee's subpoena follows an investigation by the Associated Press exposing systemic issues in the agency, including widespread criminal activity by staff and rampant sexual assault at a women's prison in California. Republican United States Representative Jody Hice of Georgia has been subpoenaed to testify before a special grand jury that is investigating whether former President Donald Trump and others illegally tried to interfere in the 2020 election within the state. More January 6th news and interfering with the 2020 election from the Trump administration. A Texas state police announced an internal review over the slow response to the Uvalde school massacre after a new 80-page report revealed wide failures by all levels of law enforcement. Do not forget the fact that the governor of Texas and all of the Texas leadership immediately thanked the law enforcement right away. Like, that's the first thing they did. Thank you to all of the hard work of the first responders. And like, that's just how Texas is. Just suck off the first responders immediately. They didn't even try to, sorry, that was very aggressive, but they didn't, it's just such a thing pisses me off to no end that the law enforcement were fighting the family members while the family members were actually fighting to get in. They had 400 law enforcement agents, 400 law enforcement members from different agencies out there, and it took them 67 minutes to even do anything. Just terrible. Sorry, that was vulgar, but there's no other way to put it. That's how the Texas governor and just immediately went and just thank you to the first responders and the excellent work that they did. What work did they do? Terrible, awful. Sorry, that I'm sure many of you feel the same way as I do. I don't have any children. I can't imagine being a parent right now. I'll just leave it there. A passenger boat carrying nearly 100 members of a wedding party capsized on Monday in the fast-flowing Indus River in eastern Punjab province, killing at least 20 women and children, government rescue officials said. Bulgarian President Rumen Radev on Monday handled a mandate to the third largest political party in parliament to form a government after 2 previous attempts have failed. And that is your headlines. And if you want to reread any of that, that is the and is the top headlines from July 18th, 2022, and what's going on in the world. Also, it's not included in here, but one of the Nick Sandman, or 1 second, hold on. The shooter, oh my god. Hold on. Oh, not that dude. Oh, not that dude. Wrong kid. Wrong kid. It's not in the description. 1 second. Parkland. There we go. Florida prosecutor calls for Parkland school shooter to receive death penalty. So this was an update from today, and I forgot to include this. A prosecutor on Monday told jurors they should sentence to death the gunman who killed 17 people and wounded another 17 in a mass shooting at a Florida high school in 2018. Nicholas Cruz, 23, pleaded guilty in October to the premeditated murder of 14 students and 3 staff members at a Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, about 30 miles, which is 48 kilometers, north of Fort Lauderdale. Prosecutor Michael Satz told Broward County jurors the first day of the penalty phase of the trial that Cruz committed was goal-directed, planned, systemic murder, mass murder of 14 students, an athletic director, a teacher, and a coach. Stats called witnesses, including students who were at school that day, studying Shakespeare, the Holocaust, and played cell phone videos in which terrified students cried for help or spoke in hushed whispers as they hid. Around 3 dozen family members of the victims were present in court, some of whom cried as they watched the proceedings. Dressed in gray and black sweater and wearing a black mask, Cruz sat with his head in his hands, at times resting his head on the defense table as videos played. Cruz, who was a 19-year-old expelled student at the time of the massacre, will be sentenced to life in prison without parole. If any of the 12 jurors objects to the death penalty, their decision could take several months. Cruz, in his guilty plea, was, quote, very sorry and asked to be given a chance to help others. Satz said aggravating factors in the case, including premeditation, outweighed arguments for leniency, including Cruz's history of mental health problems. Student Dylan Kramer was in Holocaust history class on the day of the shooting when he heard a loud noise. Oh, there's more of the story. I'll include that article from Reuters in our Discord server if you guys want more information on that. Just wanted to let you know that had started today. Nicholas Cruz, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting back in 2018. That has begun today. Now it takes forever for those things to start. All right. Now let's get into it here for the war in Ukraine, the Russian invasion here on July 18th, 2022. Just going to go over some quick headlines, some key takeaways from the day before we go into the video clips, just to give you guys just like immediately like what's going on today on July 18th, 2022. And then we'll do a video deep dive and go into the latest, and then also finish up the stream with the full map breakdown at the very end. So key takeaways. Russian Ministry of Defense is meeting with leadership of the Eastern grouping of forces in Ukraine, suggests the Kremlin will not focus on seizing Sloviansk at this stage of the campaign, but will instead prioritize attempting to seize Seversk and Bakhmut. We'll talk about that. Russian President Vladimir Putin's likely effort to put the burden of supporting operations in Ukraine on ethnic minorities to avoid conducting a general mobilization of ethnic Russians may be sparking resistance in ethnic enclaves within Russia. Russian forces conducted a series of ground attacks east of Seversk and south of Bakhmut today. Russian forces intensified efforts to advance on Advidka and conducted limited ground assaults along the Donetsk city-Advidka front line. Russian authorities are continuing to integrate occupied areas to the Russian trade economy. And that is the key takeaways from the day. Now let's just get into our video clips, and this is developing. This is from a CBS News report that I pulled from YouTube. But Ukrainian officials accused of treason as Russian troops step up attacks. This is from CBS News, just posted. Other places are sourcing it right now and talking about it. But this is the first one that I could find for the latest tonight. What's going on? But yeah, let's hear about it.
Ukraine is bracing for even more attacks as Moscow's invasion continues. Russian military leaders issued orders over the weekend for troops to further intensify their actions. Civilian areas are being bombarded repeatedly. Holly Williams has more on the efforts to get people out of harm's way. Also, the operational pause is complete. The Russians, if you've been tuning into the reports from me or beyond, you might have heard that the Russians were on an operational pause, so that is no longer.
In eastern Ukraine, the Russians are coming.
Ready, 3, 2, 1, left.
So evacuation teams are racing to get the sick and the vulnerable to safety before it's too late. Natalia Abramova told us she's already been forced to move twice as the fighting's got closer. Now
Thanks,
she
Wanda.
and her 3 sons are fleeing for their lives with what little they can carry.
Thank you.
We've lost everything, she said. We have nowhere to go. Later on, Natalia told us that in May, her husband was killed by the shelling. Their town, Chasiv Yar, is in Ukraine's Rust Belt. Many people are desperately poor, but they're standing in the way of Vladimir Putin's invading army. So with a few bags and their family pets, they're leaving nearly everything behind.
We're about 15 miles from the front line here, and many of the people being evacuated can't physically move themselves.
At times, we heard shelling in the distance, and 2 days before our visit, Chasiv Yar took a direct hit. Ukraine says 48 people were killed in this apartment building. One official called it another terrorist attack by Russia. One of the evacuation
This happened, Chasiv Yar happened before Venezia.
team is Tony Demchar from Albany, New York, where he used to work in construction. He told us he originally came here to fight, but believes he's more useful helping civilians.
I have the time, I have the money. I'm 22 years old, I don't have a kid, so I'd rather be over here than be back in New York.
He told us his father was born in Ukraine when it was part of the Soviet Union and fled to America as a child.
You could get unlucky doing this work.
Absolutely. There's danger everywhere, but I'd rather die helping these people than myself in my own bed when I'm 80 years old going, my God, I could have done something, but I didn't.
At a nearby train station, Natalia boarded with her boys and a flood of other evacuees. Russia's invasion has brought catastrophe to millions of lives.
So Holly Williams is joining us now from Kyiv. Holly, let's just start with the situation on the ground in the Donbass region. I know it's bad, but what are we talking about?
Well, you got a glimpse of it there. Those scenes are from the Donbass region. That's what it's like for civilians who are living close to the front line.
All right, so that's just, I like from the only mainstream news reports that I do is when they interview people that are in Ukraine and they do an on-the-ground report. We don't do analysis or watch them talk with their opinions, but let's continue on here. The shoot and scoot tactics being used by Ukrainian forces. This was posted by Forces News, shared into our Discord server, showing the HIMARS and their effectiveness within Ukraine.
This is the German PZH-2000, now in action with Ukraine's armed forces. With a maximum off-road speed of 28 miles per hour, this 155mm self-propelled howitzer is ideally suited to the shoot and scoot tactics, which help Ukraine outgun the Russians.
So this one might talk about the Panzer as well. I thought it was going to be about the HIMARS, the shoot and scoot tactics that uses, but this might talk about that German Panzer, the Panzer 2000 howitzer. It's a Panzer 2000. Oh, my birthday's on the 19th, so it's already the 19th in Australia, so that's why the Australian viewers are saying happy birthday already. But it's technically not till tomorrow here in the United States. Thank you, everybody.
It fires accurate, rapid shots, then leaves the area before the enemy has time to fix its target and return fire. The PHZ-2000 has a very high rate of fire and an impressive maximum range of 67 kilometres. In burst mode, it can fire 3 rounds in just 9 seconds.
Literally, we watched this whole process of how it's loaded too.
Or 10 rounds in 56 seconds. It can also fire between 10 and 13 rounds per minute continuously. Its crew of 5 can load 60 shells and propelling charges in less than 12 minutes. The gun can also fire the smart 155mm artillery round designed for long-range attack against armoured vehicles. These descend over the battlefield and attack hardened targets with penetrating warheads. Access to more sophisticated equipment is a force multiplier for Ukraine. The AHS Crab self-propelled gun has been imported from neighbouring Poland. It can fire 6 rounds a minute with a range of 40 kilometres. Importantly, it takes NATO-compatible ammunition. And this is the French Caesar system in action.
There's the Caesar.
In Ukraine. Caesar is a French acronym for truck equipped with an artillery system. Already operating on Ukraine's front line, it has the range to destroy Russian artillery, reserves and command posts. Ukraine's gunners have rapidly mastered the new artillery piece in just a couple of hours. Using the onboard digital targeting system, it can fire 6 to 8 rounds a minute at its fastest. Ideally suited to shoot and scoot tactics, a Caesar crew can begin firing just 60 seconds after arriving on position and leave within 40 seconds.
Just 60 seconds after firing.
It will be long gone even before its shells arrive on target, and well before a counter battery can land anywhere near it. Charlotte Banks, Forces News.
And that's faster than the M777s because those are towed behind a troop transport truck with a pintle hook. All right, the M777 howitzers that we've delivered. These Caesar howitzers, the Panzer 2000, and the HIMARS systems have been highly effective for the Ukrainian military. Here's some clips that were sent to our Discord server from Ukraine World. Love makes us unbreakable. Roman lost his leg in a fight with a Russian tank and now recovers. But after checking his profile on Instagram, you become convinced that nothing is impossible for the Ukrainian heroes. Wow. That's very thoughtful, but the red flares are stressing me out. Like, that looks like they're calling attention to themselves. That's the same thing. I mean, very cute and thoughtful, but like, that's like, here we are on the hill and everything on the coastline. Like, you could see that from so far away. That's not. I don't know if I would do that during a war zone, during wartime. That'd be adorable though any other time. All right. Next, Ukraine World. Russian TV depicts Russian values. So you get an idea of what some of the Russian media is looking like these days.
Так же, как деды и прадеды, он сражался с фашизмом.
В память о Сэдди, говорю, купили новенькую машину.
Новая «Лада» куплена на то, что в народе называют гробовыми, а официально – единовременным пособием семье погибших.
Wow, what's officially a lump sum allowance of the family of the deceased. They bought a car.
Отец говорит, что Алексей мечтал.
His father says Alexei dreamt of having a white car just like this one. Wow, dude. Russian values. Send your. Wow, dude.
Белый, а такой. Выезжает в первый раз на кладбище.
So his kid dies. Or memory of our son, we bought a new car with the money that they got for his death and then drove it to his grave. Yep, Russian morals. Memory of our son. Wow. Next. Oh, we'll get to Rob Lee. There's a few more here. Venezia is bidding its last farewell to victims of the Russian terrorist missile attack on July 14th. So this is the city of Venezia, given a funeral procession to the civilians that were killed during Russia's cruise missile attack within the city. Yeah, and they promote that. Sorry, before we do this, quick, because they're promoting that as something positive, which I can't. That's not positive. That's even through the scope of how Russia's trying to present that video, it doesn't come off as positive either. It's gross. All from the strike in Venezia last week. All from Venezia last week from the attack on July 14th. Ukrainian cities bid farewell, so the similar. That was on the 17th. Lining up on the side. Harvesting crops in Ukraine these days. While the occupiers are burning our fields, Ukrainians, at immense risk to their own lives, are trying to save everything they can.
Жнива в фронтовій зоні. У нас тут свій фронт, другий, не менш важливий, боротьба за врожай. Таких жнив ще в нас не було, напевно, в Україні. А он комбайн продовжує збирати. Це все після вранішніх прильотів. Шевченківська громада.
You got Ukrainian farmers trying to prevent their wheat fields from completely burning away. So, harvesting crops in Ukraine these days. Ukrainians at immense risk to their own lives trying to save their crops. More here. Meanwhile, on Russian state TV, again, these are all just clips that were sent to our Discord server before we go into the full combat timeline from Rob Lee for the last 24 hours and the Ukraine war video report on Reddit. So if you guys do have any clips or videos you come across during the last 24 hours or before this live stream, again, every night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Meanwhile, on Russian state TV, a delusional professor claims that in Ukraine, Russia is fighting a war against, quote, the darkness of the West, and for the, quote, salvation of all humanity. Even Orwell would be horrified or perhaps impressed. Deranged host applauds his unparalleled, quote, brilliance. So Russian state TV watch. So we watched an advert for a father buying a car for his son, and that is presented as a positive thing. So here is their news media digesting the war.
На самом деле, то, что сейчас происходит, это действительно война ценностного порядка. Идет борьба с несправедливостью, с угнетением совершенно в новой формации. По сути, Запад сегодня представляет собой тот самый империализм, только нового толка. Это борьба против угнетения, это ценностная борьба против лжи, это ценностная борьба, в конце концов, действительно за справедливость. Поэтому то, что происходит, это борьба за будущее, за светлое будущее, в противовес вот всему тому ужасному, то, что мы наблюдаем на этом самом Западе. То, что сейчас происходит, это борьба за суверенитет, справедливость, за спасение, если угодно, спасение человечества от того мрака, который наступает от этого Запада. Иначе, как вот такими высокопарными, высокими выражениями, никак это объяснить нельзя. Важно то, что это понимают страны не Запада. Потому что Запад, он усыхает, он постепенно сжимается, и от этого он становится более агрессивным. В этом плане вот этот вот мрак, он опасен своей высокой агрессивностью, потому что когда мрак агрессивен, он может нести большие разрушения. Но для этого мы и есть, для того, чтобы принести то самое спасение и прекратить эту самую агрессивность.
Блистательно.
Total garbage. Total BS from start to finish. It's like, where do you even start? A war between different values, new type of a struggle against injustices and oppression, new type of struggle, new type of imperialism. They're talking about themselves. Everything we observe in the West, what's happening right now is a fight for sovereignty. Yes, for Ukraine's sovereignty, for the salvation of all. They invert their own actions and they make their own actions into Western provocations. Everything they do. The West is drying up and gradually contracting. This darkness with its high aggression is dangerous. They literally they will act and then say that it's the West, but they'll just do that though. And it's just accepted, and you have to, and then the Russian people have to accept it. They don't have a choice. And Russia doesn't give a shit what the rest of the world, they're just going to do whatever and say whatever they want. But they are literally saying they're saying inverted or inverse their own actions, projecting it onto the West as if it's the West doing it. And they've always done this. And people eat it up. People do eat this up all the time. Russian media monitor. That will drive you nuts. Like, that's why we tune into these now and then. They will literally make your brain melt, and try not to get upset over it, because you already know it. If you know in your heart this is garbage, don't let this bother you. That's what it's built for. Troll media. Video reportedly of Russian tanks moving via rail in the Donbass. It looks like 2 T-72 AVs and 2 T-72 B3Ms. So now we're going to be getting into some combat footage here. Let's leave the Russian propaganda for a bit until we get to some RT videos in here. The first tank appears to have a mix of wheels. T-72 AV and T-72 B3Ms. Alright, so here you got Russian tanks moving on the Donbass. You got Ukrainian T-64 BV tank, a 2S1 Godzvidka howitzer, and a 2S1 Pion artillery piece in Kramatorsk, a line of cities. You got Sloviansk and Kramatorsk and Druzivka and Krutsianivka all on that line along the E40 highway. Russia has, and the reports are today, that they've adjusted their plans of taking those cities. So all those failed attempts from Liman and Izium onto Sloviansk, well, now they're saying that they're just going to focus on Seversk and Bakhmut, which are, if they're moving east to west, those are the next two cities in line after Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. We'll talk about it on our full map breakdown. Tune in to the end of the stream for a map breakdown. I'll show you on the map. Photos reportedly of the Donbass showing S-400s. Looks like the missile canisters are empty. The latter is capable of carrying the long-range 40N6 missile. Wow, they got the big boy. They got the Chungus in there. While Russia will say any long-range missile sent to Ukraine from the United States is an immediate provocation. But Russia has been sending long-range missiles through Ukraine since the start of the invasion. Members of Elisjsha Carlson deploying a Lelika 100 UAV. It's a new UAV here from the Elisjsha Carlson Ukraine unit. HIMARS hype in the chat. We need a HIMARS emoji for our members. Or just some artillery. Doing Elisjsha attacks on Russian targets. There's those wheat fields. Those wheat fields, though, are burning. That's not good. I'm concerned about that. Anyone else concerned about the wheat fields, though? Like, they're burning at an alarming rate. The farmers are doing everything they can. So the commander of Russia's Eastern grouping of Lieutenant General, what's going to happen when winter comes around? He was currently the deputy commander of the Southern Military District and served as the first commander of the Russian forces. So commander of Russia's Eastern grouping is Lieutenant General Rustam Muradov. Okay, so this is just telling us about the new commander. Oh. Next to Shoigu. I'm very concerned about the wheat situation. I don't feel like enough people are. No one home. It's exported. What do you mean no one's home to consume it? It's exported. They feed the Ukraine is the largest supply of wheat to the world. It's huge. It's gonna affect shit. Just wait. It's gonna get blamed on. Politics are gonna take over, and it's gonna be political games instead of just like, you know what? It's Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the literal physical blockade of the Black Sea. Like there are Russian ships physically in the Black Sea preventing Ukraine's exports from successfully reaching the rest of the world. But no, that won't be enough. That it'll turn into a political game and bullshit, and it just drives me insane. Video of Ukrainian Stugna P ATGM strike on a Russian BMP. That's why I can only do this for a couple hours a night, because it gets my blood pressure going. This shit is just ridiculous. You got to fight. Not only do you have to, well, where I'm at, I got to find the most relevant and accurate information available while also battling the ideology at the same time. And if I didn't have to battle the ideology, this would be way easier, because it's just what's going on. But no, you got to fight the propaganda and the ideology game too, which makes it hard. Stugna P, an explosion reportedly in Nova Kakhovka. Another one? This is where the Ukrainians struck a couple nights ago, before the strike in Vinnytsia, when the Russians responded with a civilian strike, and the Ukrainians destroyed a massive ammunition depot behind Nova Kakhovka, which is to the east of Kherson. This is in the southern axes within Ukraine. Another massive strike on an ammunition depot there. Massive strike there. Another one. That's an ammunition spot. That's an ammunition location there. Show you guys where this is real fast. I already have it pulled up. Show you guys where this is at. Nova Kakhovka. So here's the southern axes in Ukraine. So really quick, real fast. Ukrainian city of Mykolaiv, where the Ukrainian military staged and moving and advancing their counter offensives towards Kherson. I'm going to highlight the two Ukrainian cities in red. So here's Kherson, right? Here's Nova Kakhovka. Ukrainians are striking the ammunition depots. That's two large strikes on ammunition depots within the last week, because Ukraine struck Nova Kakhovka last Sunday into Monday, increasing their counteroffensives and their strikes on key Russian infrastructure. Kherson's a realistic city for Ukraine to take back with their counteroffensives. Realistic. Another video. This is actually Rysky outside of Nova Kakhovka. More strikes on Russian infrastructure / ammunition depots. Two a week for the past 8 weeks. They've destroyed 12 ammunition depots, or maybe it's 20. It's either 12 or 20. I apologize. There's a 2 there. With only 8 HIMARS systems. They're supposed to be getting more. Significant victories for the Ukrainian military in the southern axes. That's why this whole, I mean, in general, there's 3 fronts, and we'll go into it. We'll go into it when we do the map update. There's 3 fronts. Ukraine's winning in the south. Russia's winning in the east. In the northeast, and that's the only other front, it's a stalemate along the border in Kharkiv. So it's like you got a wash in the northeast. Ukraine's winning in the south, Russia's winning in the east. That's like a whole attrition across the board between each. Because you could say, if you were reporting for just Ukraine, right, you would say Ukraine's counteroffensives and their artillery is striking fear in the Russians' hearts and minds and tactics in Ukraine. It's changed everything. On the other hand, Russia's still gaining territory and advancing in the east, and they're still working and aiming to take cities. And any territory lost to Ukraine, you got to realize, is to Ukraine, that's a loss. Any land lost to Russia is just a general loss. But in the south, Russia's even the annexation plans in the south have paused. They've had to now go on the defensive in preparation for Ukraine's counteroffensives along the southern line along the coast. So things have changed since Ukraine has received these high-powered artillery. They need more. VDV snipers in Hostomel with an SVKM sniper rifle from the beginning of the war. VDV snipers in Hostomel. Video of the Russian Mi-8M TSH and the Mi-24-35M helicopters before flying to Hostomel. So we're getting old videos from Russia still. They're continuing with this Hostomel airport. The Hostomel assault. They've came out with so many videos lately of it. Actually, so just more from the airport. You got video of a Ukrainian soldier firing an LMM Martlet man pads. Russian Orlan UAV. Shooting an Orlan UAV down. Can Russia hold any new territory? They can in the east. Incrementally. It's not like Ukraine's just giving it up. Ukraine's fighting, but not anywhere else, no. No. In the south and in the northeast, no. Russia cannot gain any new territory. Not at all. Video of Ukraine's border guards UAVs dropping, at least at this point in the war. Right now, absolutely not. Improvising munitions on Russians' positions in the Kharkiv Oblast. It appears they're packing explosives into energy drink cans. Using energy drink cans for their munitions. That's for Kharkiv. I know that second word is Kharkiv, right? Border guards using energy drink cans as their munitions. So this is the fight along the international border in Kharkiv. Haven't seen too many combat clips coming out of here. So as we were just talking about it, Kharkiv Oblast up on the international border. Rushkin Rozgavirda troops, remember that's their National Guard with patrol MRAPs. Patrol. Showing what their Russian Rozgavirda, what their National Guard looks like. Ukrainian DJI Matrice 300. Excuse me. RKT UAV with an 82mm mortar round. Using drone warfare. Drone warfare here. Where's the mortar? I thought there would be more. Is it on the bottom? Oh, it's carrying it. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just right here on the bottom. Goodness. Seriously, Ukraine's going to lead the world in development of dropping munitions from drones. Facts. Like, they've mastered this now. They're dropping an 82mm mortar round. I got the big drone carrying that thing. Video from Ukraine's 80th Air Assault Brigade showing a Stugna P. We need P's in the chat. Stugna P. Anti-tank guided missile strikes on Russian tanks. The footage shows a T-72B tank as well as what looks like a BTR-82 within the distance. P's in the chat. Russian tank getting blown up. We should have known the Ukrainians were going to master the artillery that they were given when they mastered the Stugna P immediately. They can strike targets. They can strike moving targets. They can strike helicopters. They're masters at the Stugna P now. Video of a Russian soldier in a firefight in Lugansk Oblast. One soldier fires an OG-7 round. So you got Russians fighting here. Russian combat footage. The orc side. Some tanks do have flares, the Russian tanks don't. Modern tanks are supposed to have them. Is this guy on his phone? What is actually happening here? Let's watch this one more time. Was that guy like on it? How many people are fighting? What is this, a chill session? What the hell is this? Yeah, that's effective. This guy's chilling here. No helmet. No Kevlar. Chilling. Who is this? This had to be for videos. This had to be for their TikTok, Instagram, or shit. I don't know. I hear firing in the distance though, so it doesn't sound complete garbage, like RT's videos. You can hear firing in the distance, but not at them. You're definitely knowing whizzing noises, like some of the videos that have come out of the east in the thick tree line, when you can hear the bullets whizzing in the trees, and you can clearly hear it's a firefight. They're chilling over here. This dude's chilling right here. And his back, the other thing, his back is completely turned to where this guy's fighting. So like, what's going on here? That guy's engaging some targets over here. Dude, this dude doesn't give a shit. His back is turned. No armor. Yep, this has to be for videos. Where is there shooting over here? What's going on here? Okay, and these guys don't even have... This guy doesn't even have a weapon. It looks... It doesn't look like complete Chechen unit. It doesn't look like a Chechen unit. But they're definitely fighting like it. That was... Who thinks that was a valid... Look at this guy's laying down here with his phone out. This is a cell phone. This isn't a fire. What's this guy doing back here? Yeah, that's fake news. What was that? Let's see the comments. This is my favorite part now. It looks like most of them are just sitting there. Two guys casually filming, helmets optional, and they're definitely into it. Literally. Okay, I'm glad the comments are seeing the same thing I am. Looks like a made up, looks like something for videos, for some reels on TikTok. Alright, video of Ukrainian strikes on a Russian column. The source claims a TOS-1 alpha. Yeah, we'll leave it on that. Source claims a TOS-1 Alpha thermobaric multiple launch rocket system was destroyed, but it isn't possible to tell from a distance. You're telling one of the people, you know what, the same people that are parroting the Russian narrative will say, well, it's you don't know what to trust out here, and like their side that they're parroting is like literally making garbage videos. Just whatever. Adulthood sucks.
4 одиниці, серед них одне РСЗО Буратіно. Спереді 2 танка.
So we're looking at Ukrainian strikes on a Russian column here. You got a Ukrainian military video here. You can see the smoke in the distance. There's a strike. There was a strike. Big Karen energy from Russia. Russia is Karen energy. Or the Kremlin, I should say. So long range distance video from a Ukrainian strike on Russian column. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking the same thing as this first comment here. I don't know if that was a TOS-1A. If it was a thermobaric strike, wouldn't we see like a larger fireball? We didn't really see one. I was waiting for that. We see one here, but it doesn't look as... I was thinking maybe this is just like a Stugna P. That wasn't nearly as devastating. Like the TOS-1 Alpha thermobaric strikes are pretty big for their fireballs when they happen. Who knows? Looks a little small for a TOS-1 Alpha strike. Russian war correspondent Yevgeny Podobny published a video overnight which he said shows a Russian LNR air defenses destroying a target over Alkivsk. It appears Russian air defenses shot down its own Su-34 bomber. Damn. Russia shot down its own Su-34. Let's see the video. How is news on the war? All I see on Russian TV is that you're winning. Of course. Russia is winning in the east, in the Donbass, in terms of because they're gaining territory. They're not winning anywhere else. Ukraine's winning in the south, in the southern axes. And it's a stalemate on the border in the northeast. That's the best description I can give you. There's 3 fronts in Ukraine right now. It's not a simple answer as like who's winning or losing. There's 3 fronts. So and there's three areas that combat's taking place, and different sides are accomplishing different things in each section. AKA there's nuance to the answer. So here, is there anything more on this? Why did he tag an Igor Gherkin post? Was this... What does this say? This was the Su-34 shot down? I don't want to source anything from Igor Gherkin though. Even though at this time Igor Gherkin's God, it's so information's so he is pro what Russia's doing, and I've explained this a few times. He's pro narrative, he's pro Russia in terms of like pro war. But there's infighting going on with the mill bloggers and the Kremlin. So they're like trolling the Kremlin for their mistakes now because they're so angry with how the Russian military's failed. So it's like they're garbage, like garbage sources in general, but they're like trolling the Kremlin because they're so angry. So they're actually giving good information right now. Dude, information war. Because they're trolling the Kremlin because they're pissed. And the Kremlin's trying to do the best they can to silence those mill bloggers now. Video of Ukrainian artillery strikes on a Russian MSTAS howitzer. MSTAS howitzer. I don't want to start. The thing with that, with the Igor Gherkin and the Russian mill bloggers thing, is when you start going to them for information, then they're not a source you want to go to, and then they'll recognize that eventually, and then they'll start interdicting garbage information because they know now sources will go to them just because they're spiting the Kremlin. But you got to realize those sources aren't going to be valid forever. They're just spiting the Kremlin right now. You got to realize what side they're really on. A destroyed Ukrainian 2S-1 Pion artillery piece in the Bakhmut area. 2S-1 Pion destroyed. Alright. That's a big one. Video of Ukrainian UAV dropping ammunition on a Russian position. Russian trench system getting hit with a loitering munition. Looks like one of the handmade ones. Nope. That's a loitering munition. That's not a handmade. The handmade ones come in the cups, and as we've seen, they've used energy drink cans. Photos of Ukrainian soldiers firing an SPG-9 from the back of a pickup truck in training. SPG-9 in the back of a pickup truck during some training. What do we got here? A group of Russian Duma deputies has submitted a bill that proposes to grant the status of combat veteran to FSB servicemen. So this is just some Russia news about their servicemen receiving combat pay, receiving veteran status for their time within Russia. So here's from Moscow from July 11th. A group of state Duma deputies have submitted a bill to the legislature that proposes to grant the status of veterans to FSB servicemen who were engaged in repelling armed incursions into Russia. That's what they're saying? That's what they're getting their awards for? You don't even have to tell the truth anymore. Just whatever. This draft federal law has been prepared in order to establish the status of a combat veteran for servicemen in the FSB who perform the task of repelling an armed incursion into the territory of the Russian Federation, as well as in the course of an armed provocation on the state border and the border territory of the Russian Federation adjacent to the areas of the special military operation in the territories of Ukraine, the Donetsk People's Republic, and the Lugansk People's Republic since February 24th, 2022. So FSB guards are going to be getting combat veteran status for suppressing armed incursions into Russia. Apparently, that's interesting. When did that happen? Interesting. The Russian The Russian firebomber Telegram channel says that based on the number of Ukrainian Air Force losses in the air, the Ukrainian Air Force likely lost very few or no serviceable aircraft on the ground at airfields. So does this say that on the 24th they hardly got any aircraft? Of course, the Ukrainian Air Force is still flying. He questions how Ukraine's Air Force knew in advance and whether Russia was aware it moved its aircraft and whether Russia's fires plan was adjusted accordingly. He questions how Russia's effective initial strikes were. So just doing some backwards thinking in terms of the, reflections in the Telegram channels, day-to-day conversations. In these Telegram channels, it's like a community too, so they talk about things that have happened throughout the invasion in these channels. Video of a strike on what looks like a Russian BMP by Ukraine's 14th Mechanized Brigade. The vehicles look like they may have been abandoned. You got a Russian BMP getting struck by Ukraine's 14th. Sorry about that. I feel like there's a lot more accessible information for this war now that social media and people knew what it was from the beginning. There's been a lot of censorship though on information coming out. Video of Russian BMPT tank support combat vehicles. So you got RT perspective, Russia Today. So it's a Russia Today report showing a BMPT supporting combat vehicles. Right.
В зоне боевых действий мы нашли что-то даже практически мифическое. Терминатор, вот он, во всей своей красе. Они работают хорошо, но оставим на этом.
BMPT.
В зоне боевых действий мы нашли что-то даже практически мифическое. Терминатор, вот он. Во всей своей красе. Они работают хорошо, но оставим на этом.
There it is. One of the few working ones. One of the few working ones still, or that isn't in Ukraine control. And here's another video of their BMPT. They're advertising it, or it's like a feature on Russia Today for a video.
А сейчас мы уже непосредственно на передовой и нашли терминатор.
Well, at least the turret moves side to side.
И запрещено показывать местность, привязывать это к какой-то местности, так как украинская сторона ведет за этими машинами и экипажами довольно серьезную охоту.
Hard to tell where this is with the camera angle, right? Camera angle's down and looking up at it, so you can't really see what's behind it or what's in the distance. And these vehicles are designed for urban combat, not for like World War I artillery trench warfare that's going on in the East. These things were designed for urban combat. Interesting. We got even more. All right. Looks like we have a whole line of video here. 18? Oh, those are old. Okay, old videos. I was like, damn, there's 18 videos attached to that. Photo presumably of Rosgavirda troops. Russian National Guard with the red Z patch. You got the red Z patch on that troop. Video of Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions in the Marinka area. Also, I don't think Facebook sent a notification out. I'm looking on my thing and I still don't have a notification from Facebook. I just pulled it up and shared it. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you could just share the stream. Mark Zuckerberg got me again. Video of Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions in Marinka. Didn't even send a notification to my followers on Facebook for the stream. Nothing. Again, this is a Russian strike on Ukrainian positions here. These are Ukrainian trench lines and fortifications getting hit right along a railhead. Likely a key Ukrainian position along the rail line there. They had one there. Oh, they had a big position along that rail line. Like the Russians shelled each side. "38-second video." You got a Facebook notification 50 minutes ago. We've been live for an hour and 5 minutes. That's wild. I haven't gotten one. Okay, next video. Video of low-flying Russian Su-25 attack aircraft. They're just low-flying Russian Su-25s. Another photo of a destroyed Russian equipment from the Antonov Airport. Antonov Airport photos coming out from the 24th of February. Oh, excuse me. This one's from March. So a month after. Video of Russian precision-guided missile on Ukrainian hangars. So Russian strike on Ukrainian hangars here. Okay. Warhawk video. We managed to stabilize the situation. Important factor contributing to our retention of defensive lines and positions is the timely arrival of the M142 HIMARS, which deliver surgical strikes on enemy control posts, ammunition, and fuel storage depots. I maintain a dialogue with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley. Traditionally, I inform my American counterpart about the operational situation. We managed to stabilize the situation. It is complex and tense, but completely controlled. An important factor contributing to our retention of defensive lines and positions is the timely arrival of the M142 HIMARS, which delivers surgical strikes on enemy control posts, ammunition, and fuel storage depots. On the eve of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting, General Milley and I synchronized the requests of the Ukrainian side. I sincerely thank my colleague and I in his position, the United States and its allies for their help in the struggle for freedom. Is there a first one? No, it's from the General Staff. Reportedly, footage of a Russian Procode 1 mine-clearing vehicle based on a BRM-3MA chassis with a TMT-S mine roller trawler in Ukraine. The Procode 1 can be operated with the crew inside or unmanned. The lawnmower got bigger. They got a bigger lawnmower. The front's all bent and shit. Okay, so new mine roller. This one's a little bigger than the other one. Look at the front. It's all bent and shit. Garbage piece of equipment. Video from Ukraine's National Guard reportedly showing a strike on a Russian T-80 tank by a Nona K 120mm towed howitzer. That's copyrighted. Maybe. Got a T-80 tank getting struck here. Hit that like button on the stream if you haven't. Like the video on YouTube. Spam the reactions on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel here. Thank you, Mike Ha71, for the subscription. In the last 11 minutes. Mike Ha71, thank you so much. So that's from Ukraine's National Guard. Photos of destroyed Ukrainian T-64 BV tank. Struck by a Russian tank. In the Zaporizhzhia front. That is rusted. That's got some rust on it. Destroyed Ukrainian T-64. The Wagner-linked RSOTM channel posted about HIMARS, which they said are successfully striking very important targets. So this is the Wagner private military channel. They say that Russia claims that HIMARS have been stolen or destroyed are fiction, and that there would be greater evidence if true. So even the Wagner private military companies refuting the Kremlin's propaganda. Listen, the Kremlin can't even keep up with their own. They're just going to tell lies to the point where even their own fighters on the ground are like, yeah, no, that's not true. The HIMARS are striking very important targets and they're destroying us. The claim that Ukraine has at least 12 and up to 16 HIMARS launchers in Ukraine, I think it's just 12 now, so it's up to 12, including 6 in Dnipro-Tversk Oblast, 2 in Kryvyi Rih, and 4 in Zaporizhzhia direction, 2 in Kharkiv, and 4 in Mykolaiv. So here's the uncensored, or the English version. Russian Wagner private military company is taking part in the war, shares information about the alleged destruction of HIMARS, claiming all the messages appearing in the pro-Russian channels are fake. Even though the near front work and poor internet connection, the sound comes through which, if it wasn't the sound of explosions of HIMARS multiple launch rocket system strikes, then at least it's explosions of bottom parts on both sides of their who speak about their uselessness, and also the others who claim their super effectiveness. Regarding the effectiveness of the systems, I won't be going into whether the results of the work of the work of the Western multiple launch rocket systems are advantageous. I think that it is put mildly, damn, or the disadvantages of our air defense, but without revealing any secrets, I will say that all uses of these systems, of which were not many, were at very important facilities and not positions in the field. Even with shooting down a third of the missiles, the rest dealt with necessary Ukraine damage to our side. Help! HIMARS striking fear into everybody's heart. As for the informational gossip about their purchase or destruction, all messages about the sale by UAF and purchase of RFAF of both the French howitzer Caesar and the American multiple launch rocket system HIMARS are fiction. More than one post was made about Caesar as if it had already been taken apart at our factory, but they didn't show a single photo, which is absolutely not typical for our side, which boasts a lot. The totally ridiculous story about the secret sale of HIMARS, I believe, does not need at all any logical reflections, since to seriously believe that someone on the internet would write about an unfinished deal, Russia would, and Russia Hopium would, reveal the entire scheme, data on the sellers and buyers, and at the same time hope for the conclusion of the deal. It is all complete schizophrenia. Who does that sound like? Sounds like these type of people exist no matter if they're Russian or where they live in this world. This is a type of this is an archetype. This is a person, because it's not just Russians like this. But the highlight of our discussion among fighters was the alleged destruction of HIMARS yesterday, where in reality a timber truck was destroyed that carrying logs to the front line of UAF for strengthening of their positions. And generally for the future, if you see glued up frames, low quality filming from a UAV. We don't have others yet. Again, this is coming from the Wagner private military company. Like, these are, so not only are the Russian mill bloggers, those that are like nationalist social media content creators that are for what's happening, but they are trolling the Kremlin and are now providing information that we can all see, that which again is not good for the Kremlin. And the Wagner private military company, who is fighting on behalf of Russia and is taking cities for Russia in Ukraine, is like, look at these HIMARS systems are not what we thought. They're destroying us. The Russian narrative and what Russia's saying that they're taking them and that they've taken HIMARS is garbage. Not true at all. But the highlight of our discussion among the fighters was alleged the destruction of HIMARS yesterday, where in reality of a timber truck was destroyed. So they didn't get a HIMARS, they got a timber truck. Was carrying logs to the front line of the UAF for strengthening of their positions. And generally for the future, if you see glued up frames, low quality filming from a UAV, we don't have others yet, where nothing apart from pixels and something smoldering can be seen, which requires you to fantasize. Consider the information to be untrue. If we really managed to locate the position of a HIMARS and then destroy it, believe me, there would be plenty of shots. Ours wouldn't miss an opportunity to play it in the media for a few weeks. Facts. If they really got a HIMARS, it would be all like the Russia roundtable who wants to be a millionaire ass looking news with the Russia Today lady and all their propagandists on their propaganda high table or round table news they do. Fox News looking shit. That would be all over there. They would have it immediately. That would be the first thing that we would show. Look at the HIMARS, like, and there would be a picture of a HIMARS, and you could see it. So they took a timber truck and made that into it. And this is Russia's own units. This is the oh my goodness, the Wagner private military contractor. See, they use so many different units are over there for Russia. It's hard to keep track of them. But this is the Wagner private military company, flat out saying the Russia's lies are lies and they're not true. That was the translated version of their Telegram channel. Here's what it looks like in their channel. Obviously, I can't read that, so we have the translated version. Interesting. They claim that, so here's the track where the HIMARS are. The 6 in the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, so that's 2 in Kryvyi Rih and 4 in Zaporizhia. They have 2 in Kharkiv and 4 in Mykolaiv. They need more in Mykolaiv, then they can advance onto Kherson. That's why they're having successes. They have 4 of them in Kherson, or 4 of them in Mykolaiv. So quick, let's go to a map. Let's mark where the HIMARS are. That's the city of Mykolaiv. That's where 4 of them are. So let's just do this full map of Ukraine. So let's do it in a box. I need like a HIMARS sticker. Do that. So they have like 1, 2, 3. They have 4 HIMARS down here. Where else are they? 2 in Kryvyi Rih. So there's 2 more. There's 2 HIMARS here. 2 HIMARS systems there for Ukraine. Where else did they say? 2 in Kharkiv, and then 4 in Zaporizhia. 1, 2, 3. So they have 4 over here, and then they have 2 in Kharkiv. Yep, 2 in Kharkiv. Let's mark that. I need HIMARS stickers. So they have 2 on the border, 4 in Zaporizhia. We can circle. Go to blue now. Kharkiv. Zaporizhia has 4 of them. Kryvyi Rih has 2 of them. Mykolaiv has 4 of them. If Mykolaiv had more, if they could get just 2 more, even just 2 more systems, so they could have 6 of them down here, they'd be able to pound the Russian ammunition depots here. Here is Nova Kakhovka, where the Russian ammunition depots continue to get blown up. Here's Kherson. That's how close they are. They'd be able to advance very quickly onto Kherson if they had a few more HIMARS systems there. So there's a breakdown of where the HIMARS are. I need to add this part into the map breakdown. So here's where the HIMARS systems are. I'm recording now so we can add it. 2 in Kharkiv Oblast, 4 in Zaporizhia, 2 in Kryvyi Rih, and 4 in the Mykolaiv direction. So layout of the HIMARS systems. We'll add that. I recorded that part. We'll add that to the map breakdown. Tune into our map breakdowns posted at 2 p.m. in between each live stream. We'll go into that towards the ending of the video. All right. Keep that in mind. So they have 12 total. They need more. Looks like a pair of Russian Mi-28UB, possibly Mi-28NM, and Mi-35M helicopters in Belgorod. So across the border in the Kharkiv Oblast. Twelve systems total. I want to know, I need to find out how many Caesar systems they have total. And M777s. Yes. I want a breakdown of the other systems and where they're at too by tomorrow. I'll have that for your tomorrow stream. It's too late now. It's a lot to try to do while I'm live, but I'll have that for tomorrow. Video of Russian Kornet ATGM strike on Ukrainian soldiers. My stream started at 8 p.m. Central Time. So I'll figure out where the Caesar systems are laid out, or the 777s are. And that was just a loose interpretation. I'm sure they're spread out more. I just wanted to show what oblasts they're in. I'm sure they're spread out. In the Zaporizhia direction, they're likely a little bit closer to Bakhmut. All right. So I'll get a more precise breakdown for tomorrow. Mans. All that with 12 of those systems. 12 HIMARS systems has caused the entire, like, even those that are fighting on the Russian side are like, you know what, Russia? You're liars. Video of Russia Kornet ATGM launch. That's not even me. You can't even say that's coming from Mercado, such a Ukrainian, blah, blah, blah. That's coming from Russia's own people fighting for Russia. It's not my bias. I'm repeating exactly what the pro-Russian assholes that are on the ground fighting for Russia are saying, and they're saying Russia's lying. Stupid. Hey, Paolo, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. Mercado's so biased for repeating what the Russian fighters are saying for Russia. Fuck. Can't win. Kornet ATGM launch. Photos of Russian Tornado U pulling a 2A-36 Giant Sint B artillery piece, a 2S-7M Malka, and a T-80 BV. Got the Z on it. Here's a T-80 down here. T-80 and T-80 BV. Tornado U pulling a 2A-36 Giant Sint. Got like a troop transport vehicle with a turret on the top. That's a 2S-7M Malka on the back. Showing some photos there. A Russian tractor with an S-300-400 missiles. MTLB with a ZU-32-2, a 2S-3 Akatsia howitzer, and a Buick M1 9A310 M1-2 Talar. So you got the S-300, S-400 missiles there. That's the MTLB. Akatsia howitzer. And the Buick M1. The Buick M1. Just think of Buick. Think of like this big square box. I think it just looks so ugly every time I see this Buick system. It just looks like a giant tracked tuberculosis. Like if tuberculosis was a physical item, it would be a Buick M1 system. Video of VDV D-30 howitzer strikes on Ukrainian positions in Kherson, Mykolaiv front. So this is the Kherson, Mykolaiv front in the southern axes. So again, this is Russian howitzer strikes on Ukrainian positions in the front in the southern axes between Kherson and Mykolaiv, which we'll talk about during our map breakdown towards the end of the stream. Paolo, thank you so much for becoming a member again. Mark, thank you for subscribing. Mark Krajinik, thank you. We have Mary following and Rick Christensen following the page during this stream. Thank you. Here you got a video of Russian VDV paratroopers in a defensive position in Kherson Oblast. So this is again between Kherson and Mykolaiv real quick. Real quick. So 2 of these videos in a row. Since it's 2 in a row, I'll just show you. It's taking place down here. Right along the river. There's a river called the Inhlowets down here. A lot of the ground fighting / artillery back and forth between the 2 sides is taking place between the city of Mykolaiv and the city of Kherson. Here it is zoomed in. Here's Mykolaiv. Here's Kherson. Here's where the fighting is going on. Right between them. I didn't plan that out well. So here you got Russian VDV paratroopers in a defensive position in Kherson. That's how I should do my map reports from now on. For Russian movements. It's looking largely accurate to a Russian unit. And here we have the Russian... I'm getting too baked. There we go. That is smart. The newest Russian unit has arrived.
Сейчас пообщаемся с бойцами, поймем, насколько соответствуют реальности эти громкие заявления. Хорошо, когда к нам пойдут, то все ближе, чем к ним ходить.
You got a Russian video of Russians. Russian video of Russians here. A little over 2 minutes.
Что вы думаете о том, что в последнее время они начали активно бить по городам, которые недавно освободили?
Это уже, так сказать, просто люди уже от безысходности начинают давить мирное население, тем самым создавать панику или попытки паники.
Что можете сказать о своих бойцах? Я так понимаю...
Это Рекс, это герои на сегодняшний день.
Можете кого-то особенно выделить?
А здесь некого выделять. Здесь все, кто со мной, это уже выделенные люди. Помимо здесь, да, киевское направление, Мощун, населенный пункт брали. Также участвовали в опасном направлении.
Sorry. My bad. Sorry.
Это были наступательные операции, сейчас оборонительные. Ну, самый тяжелый, на мой взгляд, это было киевское направление и опасное. Намного тяжелее, чем здесь. Почему? Там очень хорошо и много артиллерии, работает противник. И очень качественно работают. А да, в остальном все одинаково.
Как думаете, победа скоро?
Ну, надеюсь, мы стремимся к ней.
С 26 февраля пересек границу Украины и до сих пор нахожусь здесь, в зоне боевых действий. На это направление...
Looking bored. Looking like, what the hell? So, showing some VDV paratroopers getting interviewed in a trench. That's the VDV paratroopers, Special Forces. I'm telling you right now. Ain't no paratroopers in the United States. Never mind. All right, never mind. Can't do that. Shoigu instructed the commander to give priority to the enemy's long-range missile and artillery weapons, the defense ministry said. Shoigu, one of Putin's closest allies, inspected the Vostok group, which is fighting in Ukraine. The defense ministry said Shoigu instructed the commander to give priority to the enemy's long-range missile and artillery weapons, the defense ministry has said. Continuing on, that might be the last clip from Rob for the night here. The crew reportedly survived. Which crew? Oh, the crew of the Russian. Of course they survived. Of course. Of course they survived. It appears the Russian air defense shot down its own Su-34 bomber, and then here's another report attached to that they reportedly survived. Translation: all I can say about any air defense is that an air defense is considered good if it shoots down outsiders more often than friendly pilots. Oh, so they're coping with it. Any air defense should be feared by any pilot just as much as an outsider. Way to spin that. Yeah, what a way to spin that. It is not clear how the identification friend or foe system is doing, which, as it were, is on every aircraft and air defense system. Shout out to Chriso for this Twitter account for the translation here. Where is it used to translate automatically? There we go. For any air defense, I can only say that air defense is considered good if it shoots down strangers more often than its own. Any pilot needs to be afraid of his own air defense just like any stranger, dude. Wow. So he did that, just wanted to verify quick in case anybody's like, well, that's just a commenter. They could make up anything. So I'm translating it directly from the Telegram channel. It is not clear how the friend or foe state identification system is doing there, which, as it were, is on every flyable and air defense system, including manpads. So Russia shot down its own fighter jet, saying that any air defense is whatever. What a way to spin that. Way to shoot down your own fighter pilot and then say that our air defense is so good that even our own fighter jets better look out, bro. Russia air defense is just sending shots at everything. You got to be on your P's and Q's, even your own friendly fighters, because they don't have comms. Russian army, as a move of goodwill, shot. This had to be from a Ukrainian. They're so funny. Russian army, as a move of goodwill, shot down its own Su-34 fighter jet. Act of goodwill. So here's a video right away from that Telegram posting of the Su-34 getting shot down. Act of goodwill. Just like Snake Island. Was the Moskva an act of goodwill? All the ammunition depots getting blown up was an act of goodwill by Russia. That's how sort of, dude. They do that though. They will. That's how their brain. That's how their information delivery is. That's how they spin it. Masters at spinning anything. My brain doesn't work like that, but they do it. So I like the humor when it's thrown back. Special Su-34 operation. Russian tank squad WTF moment. So you're not going to find many Russian military videos here. We went through all of the ones from today. If they do come up here, they'll be likely roasted on the Ukraine war report. So I just want to let you know that. I think we're done with the Russian videos for like Russian side postings for the night now. Russian tank squad WTF moment. Wait. I better be careful. It's probably copyrighted. Okay, so they all got off the tank. I don't get it. I missed it. Did I miss it? Oh, where the dudes were falling off. Oh, they're falling off. Oh shit, he almost got ran over. Okay. Okay, I see what happened. They fell off the tank. The dude literally fell off the corner of the tank there one more time. Okay, I was like, what? I thought I missed it. There he goes. Fell right off. Wow. Like a clown car. Looking like a goat rodeo. Looking like a goat rodeo, Sanders. This isn't a tank rodeo. I've seen tank rodeos. Those are awesome. Or truck rodeos. Where you gotta do like... You gotta be a... I competed in one. Not a tank one, because I'm not a tank driver, but I drove all the big military equipment that I was licensed on, and then you compete and do like, gotta park it and go through slaloms and shit. Why pickup trucks are so important on the battlefield? Quickest to load the load on the back and get it set. Dude, that was beast. Why pickup trucks are so important? Samson, welcome to level 1. Let's go.
70 килограмм. Пошло оно нахуй, она важит. Так что, блядь, если нема по пару рублей, сделайте хоть репост. Пиздец, как нужна машина.
We need a fucking car. You have some money to make a repost, so they... We need a car for this shit. Because we are so F to carry it. And the guys are F too. It weighs 70 kilograms, so F it off. They gotta drag that thing, dude. At least if you don't have some money to make a repost. Or make a repost. We effing need a car. So they're using their Chevrolets. So we saw this at the beginning. The shoot and scoot for the Panzer 2000 and the French Caesar system. We saw that. The harvest in the wheat field. Saw this at the beginning of the father who used the money for his dead son to buy a white car that he's always wanted, and then drove that car to his son's funeral. Soldier from the Azov regiment, his commander. About Denis Redis Propenko. I don't know. I don't get into the drama stuff. Insane footage of Ukrainian infantry fighting on the front line. And a compilation of Ukraine combat clips here. Right, little compilation there of some ground fighting, and for Ukrainian infantry. Russian Mi-8 helicopter just gives up. Just gives up. St. Petersburg says, you know what? I don't want to be a helicopter for Russia anymore. I'm done. Just yep, there it goes. Russian Mi-8 helicopter just out of the sky. And crash. It wasn't shot down clearly, but crash nonetheless. Wasn't shot down. Crashed though. So you got a Ukrainian Su-25 launching large unguided barrages. Ukrainian fighter jets. Which plane's better, the Su-25 or the Su-34? Experts in the chat. Let's see it. A Czech CZ. What is this? ZV-1 Falcon. OP-99 50 BMG anti-material rifle was spotted in the hands of Ukrainian forces for the first time. And an anti-material 50 cal anti-material rifle from Czech. And after that wasn't one of the choices. F-15 isn't one of the choices. You got to choose between a Su-25 or a Su-34. So new Czech long gun, 50 cal. Reportedly has arrived. Anti-material rifle. Don't do POW videos. Ukrainian forces on the front lines using an all-terrain vehicle with a PKM on it. Wow. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see what this... Wow. Oh, that's the Pinsgauer. Oh my god, we looked this thing up. There it is. We watched the whole video on that thing. They already have it. That's from Australia, isn't it? There it is. So, hold on. The Vector Pinsgauer. What country? We literally watched the video on this like a week ago. Where is it from again? Yeah, no, right, Wells? The ambulance. Yeah, yeah. It's from Australia, right? What country is it from? No, it's British. Okay, no, I'm sorry, UK. No, it's from the United Kingdom. Yeah, we looked this up. So there it is in Ukraine. The ambulance. They said they were going to get a few of them from the UK. There they are. It's already got a gun mounted on it. I was right the first time. It's from the UK. Made in Germany. Many countries use it. No, it's not a Bushmaster now. It's an ambulance vehicle. Austria uses it. Okay. And they got a gun mounted up there already. There it is. Vector Pinsgauer on the front lines. Video from inside a Ukrainian 122mm self-propelled gun. 2S1 Gozvidka. Footage shows the use of a Bulgarian 122mm shells. Inside a howitzer. Okay. So that's inside a Gozvidka. Wolfat says made in Austria for the Pinsgauer. Interesting. That howitzer looks like tuberculosis as well. That howitzer system. They're wearing soft caps and they're not likely training video. I'm seeing soft caps and no, unless they just don't wear any kit inside. They're just wearing their t-shirts, but likely training here. Here's more Caesar videos. This is that same video. No, it looks a little different. Here's the French Caesar system if you haven't seen it yet. referenced in the report we saw at the beginning of the stream. These shoot and scoot artillery weapons. This is from France, French Caesar system. Okay. Continuing on here, Russian artillery units in Kharkiv Oblast targeted by Ukraine's 40th Artillery and 92nd Mechanized Brigades. So Russian artillery units struck by 40th Artillery and the 92nd. 92nd Mechanized and 40th Artillery Brigade. What up, Nathan? Hit that like button if you guys have not done so on the stream. Welcome. This is live on Facebook and YouTube. Ukraine destroyed 2 Russian tanks along with their crews. Stugna P video? I think we might have seen this a little earlier in the stream. Yeah, that's their Stugna P video. Dead on hit though. P's in the chat. We saw that clip earlier. Reverse if you want to check it out. The National Guard of Ukraine destroyed a Russian T-80 tank, reportedly using a rare 2B16 Nona K 120mm towed gun mortar. Given the fact only 2 pieces were in Ukraine prior to the war, it is safe to assume they used an example captured from the Russian military. No audio here. Destruction of a T-80 tank. Where was it though in the beginning? Oh, there it is. Now you see it? I didn't see it at first. Now you don't. And I blended with the shrubbery. She gone. T-80 tank. Yep. Cannon fodder. Reduced to a T.08 tank. You got Belarusian combatants of the Kostas Polanushki regiment applying suppressive fire and Milans against Russian forces. So you have some Belarusian combatants combat footage here. Suppressive fire on Russian forces. Damn, I would. Another one. I would get out of there as soon as one of those guys fires one of those. I'd be out of there. They got 4K. No, Russia doesn't. Russia has 240p quality drones. Ukraine has 4K, but you be seen immediately. Occupied Nova Kakhovka. So if you missed it at the beginning of the stream, Russia hit another warehouse, another ammunition warehouse in Nova Kakhovka. Same exact city that they hit last week overnight when it was widely reported. That's when the HIMARS became like mainstream, reported in the mainstream news. Like, holy shit, like what the HIMARS is doing. will they hit the same city again? Another ammunition depot. This is to the east of the city of Kherson. We'll go into that during our map breakdown coming up here. Still have a few more clips to go through, it looks like. We saw that yesterday. Still amazing, though, if you missed this. We saw this clip yesterday. It's still mind-blowing. The bullet, damn iPhone saved him. Or I hope there'd be in it. I hope he has plates in, because then it's whatever, but... iPhone stopped a bullet. Let's go to the newest clip, see if there's anything new posted. Ukraine national colors dot the countryside.
Sorry for the ratty ass video. It was a scramble with oncoming trucks approaching me at high speed.
One more time on that.
Sorry for the ratty ass video. It was a scramble with oncoming trucks approaching me at high speed.
So, buildings painting their rooftops in Ukraine colors. Rifle training, can you identify the rifles? No. No, I cannot. All right.
And I just wonder first of all.
That's about it. No, we have some more here. New clips. Former Russian Foreign Minister Andrei Kozrev talks with the tactics Putin will use in the Ukraine war. So, Foreign Minister Andrei Kozrev talks about the tactics Putin will use. That's not really. We can skip that one.
We've seen terrible attacks on.
Putin is unable to match the people's. Putin is unable to match the people to the equipment he has as Russians avoid being called up to fight Ukraine, and Russia is committing, quote, acts of terrorism by targeting Ukrainian civilians in the UK's chief of staff.
Civilians, Ukrainians.
Oh no, we're good on that too. We're good on that. Here, Peskov in the line. Here you go, straight from their mouth. I don't. The reason why, because these are people giving their opinion on mainstream news, and like that's not. I want to hear it. If it's people, the people I want to hear their opinion from are like the people in the government from Russia and Ukraine and what they're saying, because that's going to obviously influence like what goes on in the war. But if they just have some random general like talking, like no, we're good on that. Peskov in the lying Russian propaganda machine on full display. We have no doubts that the special military operation will end after all of the goals have been achieved. So here you go. Here's the other guy. You got Lavrov and Peskov. The other one. Let's see what he's got to say here.
У нас нет никаких сомнений, что специальная военная операция завершится после того, как все ее цели будут достигнуты. Нет каких-то четких временных рамок. Главное – эффективность выполнения этой операции. Наш президент...
One more on that. I missed the rest of that. There is no clear time frame. The main thing is the effectiveness of this operation.
Временных рамок. Главное – эффективность выполнения этой операции. Наш президент...
Our President Putin has repeatedly stressed that our armed forces have clear orders to avoid...
Путин неоднократно подчеркивал, что наши вооруженные силы имеют четкий приказ Верховного Главнокомандующего
to avoid damaging civilian infrastructure and avoid civilian casualties. Lie. Clown nose. Just we should Photoshop a clown nose on this.
Избегать ущерба для гражданской инфраструктуры и жертв среди
damaging civilian infrastructure.
Гражданского населения. Поэтому вооруженные силы.
Therefore, the armed forces are working very carefully using high precision.
Работают очень аккуратно, используют высокоточное оружие, исключают.
Ruling out attacks on civilian infrastructure, which unfortunately cannot be said. Wow.
какие-либо удары по гражданской инфраструктуре, чего, к сожалению, не скажешь об украинской стороне.
So, dude, those of y'all that are tuning in that live in Eastern Europe, that live in this region, I know there's people that live in Russia that watch. I'm so like, this sucks. For the Ukrainian side, especially the nationalist battalions, units not afraid to attack anything.
Особенно о националистических батальонах и подразделениях, которые не гнушаются ничем.
Is that it? Well, then the rest of it's all just... What?
Поэтому вооруженные силы работают очень аккуратно, избегать ущерба для гражданской инфраструктуры.
So because he's look at this, even the interviewer don't believe a word this dude's saying. Therefore, the armed forces are working very carefully using high precision guided weapons. So he's just saying that obviously their weapons are not precision at all. Like, just look at the countryside of Ukraine. Looks like Swiss cheese all over the east side. They don't have precision. Their cruise missiles though, the cruise missiles and their big ones are pretty damn accurate. But in general, they don't have precision weapons beyond their cruise missiles, which are literally hitting civilian cities. Which is the antithesis to their whole anti-Western narrative, because they have long-range, high-precision weapons, and they've been using them on civilians in Ukraine. But the minute the United States is going to be, the Ukraine's getting them, the 300-kilometer long-range munitions that the HIMARS and the Caesar howitzers can use now. That's a provocation. But Russia's been using these long-range, high-precision cruise missiles in Ukraine against civilian targets repeatedly. We've seen those clips. We've seen all those. Seen all that. We're good on that. What is this here? No, we're good on that. A fire is underway in the vicinity of the hydroelectric power station in Russia-occupied Novakhovka. Yo, the Ukrainians are advancing on that city, or they're hitting all sorts of Russian infrastructure in Novakhovka. All sorts of Russian infrastructure. What we got here? Well, that's from this. That's just a shortened version of the Belarusian combat clips. I think that might be it for here. We've seen all those. That might be it for here. We might be getting into our map breakdown. Oops. Might have to go to our map breakdown now. Let's do one more top clips for the day. No, that's it. We've seen all these. They had a repair rave in Cherny. Wow. They had a repair rave. This is the Ukrainians. They had a rave in a bunker in Kyiv too during early days of the invasion. So this guy, wow. He's hosting a rave while they're cleaning the rubble. Like, there's a dude with a DJ stand. There he is. Look at that. Look at that resiliency. What's going on here? So the citizens of Chernihiv, one of the citizens is a DJ hosting a rave while they're cleaning it, or while they're cleaning the rubble. Right? Does that make sense? They're cleaning the rubble, cleaning up war remnants, and he's hosting a rave for them at the same time. They've been doing this. Ukraine's been hosting like raves in their bunkers for the people to keep, because like they've been living in bunkers and there are fallout shelters. Some people are still living in them. Like, they haven't seen the sun. The people that lived in the Azovstal plant didn't see the sun for months. There's people that are still in underground bunkers in Ukraine, especially in the east. All right, that's it for the video clips. Now let's get into our full map breakdown. full map breakdown section where I go into the latest territorial gains and losses within Ukraine, showing you guys on the map. And it's going to be the ending of the stream too. It's the last part. Also, if you guys are interested, after the stream, after we're done with this live stream, I'm going to be sending you guys, whoever remains in the chat, or if you just want to head on over to Snack Squad TV, which is our gaming channel, we're going to be wrapping up Metal Gear Solid 4. Metal Gear Solid 4 playthrough, part 5, after this stream is complete. Head over to the YouTube channel Snack Squad TV to tune in. Tomorrow we'll be playing a game called Stray on my birthday. It's my birthday in 2 hours, so it'll be my birthday on Snack Squad TV. So if you want to come and hang out and celebrate the early hours of my birthday, come on over. That'll be live when we're done here on Mercado Media. Snack Squad TV. Hang out in the YouTube chat, and you guys will just be redirected right to that video. So if you guys just don't even touch your phone, just sit there and watch Mercado Media to the very end, I will send you to that video. You don't even have to do anything, okay? So let's get into it here. Let me pull up my map, make sure we're good to go, because once I start the update, I don't really slow down. Hard for me to slow down here. Let me get it pulled up. Hit that like button. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel on YouTube and Facebook. All right, y'all, here we go. All right, everybody, I'm your host, Andy Mercado from Mercado Media. Welcome to another map update here. Day 145 of the war within Ukraine, July 18th, 2022. And let's just get into it. Hit that like button, comment below anything you would like me to add to these map updates or any tips or words of advice that you would have for me. Drop that in the comments. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu's July 18th meeting with the commander of the Eastern Group of Forces, Lieutenant General Rustam Muradov, supports the Study of War's assessment that Moscow will not prioritize an attack to seize Sloviansk in this stage of the operation, but will instead focus on seizing Seversk and Bakhmut. The Russian Defense Ministry announced on July 18th that Shoigu expected the Eastern Group and directed Muradov to prioritize the destruction of Ukrainian long-range missiles and artillery systems. This is the first time the Study of War has observed explicit mention of the Eastern Europe force grouping operating in Ukraine in this phase of the war. The Russian Ministry of Defense previously reported that the Central and Southern Force groups took part in the capture of the Lugansk Oblast under the leadership of Colonel General Alexander Lapin and Army General Sergei Shurgavin. The Eastern Group of Forces is likely comprised of elements of Russian Eastern Military District, the EMD, which have been active along the Izium axis in the Kharkiv Oblast. It is still unclear whether Muradov also directly controls operations around Kharkiv city. Muradov's forces are operating in the Izium-Sloviansk direction ostensibly with the objective of eventually seizing Sloviansk itself. And it's noteworthy that Shoigu did not direct Muradov to prioritize taking ground along the axis at this time. Muradov holds a lower rank both than Lapin and Servikin, suggesting that the Kremlin considers this Izium-Sloviansk area to be a lower priority than the capturing territory in the Donetsk Oblast as part of the wider Donbass campaign. The Kremlin likely is focusing military resources and high-rank leadership on localized and discrete gains around Seversk and Bakhmut, despite Shoigu's earlier calls for the intensification of operations along axes of advance. So, Russian military shifting their focus from Izium and Liman and their advances on Sloviansk, and they're leaving that, now just refocusing on the pocket in the east, which we'll talk about in the Eastern Front breakdown. Russian President Vladimir Putin's likely effort to shield ethnic Russians from high levels of mobilization may trigger resistance in some of the ethnic enclaves that seem to be disproportionately bearing the burden of the war. Weird. Super weird. Russian Telegram channel Rebar released a report on July 18th that Nova Tuva movement, an anti-war organization comprised of activists from the Tuvan ethnic minority enclave. Rebar announced the Novaya Tuva movement of disseminating anti-war propaganda and inciting ethnic discord within the Russian Federation. This report is noteworthy in the context of recent increase in the formation of regionally based volunteer battalions through Russia, many of which fall along distinct ethnic lines. Study of War and others have previously noted that the prevalence of non-ethnic Russian battalions fighting in Ukraine, which include troops from Chechnya, South Ossetia, Tuva, Tatarstan, Bashkortostan, Shuvashtia, and others. These indicators suggest that Putin may be unwilling to conduct general mobilization, in part due to reluctance to mobilize large numbers of ethnic Russian. So they're going to fight for the ethnic Russians in the Donbass by using non-ethnic Russians to fight. Make it make sense. Rybar's post, as well as previously reporting on Free Betrulia anti-war grouping, bring to the fore that risk that Putin's apparent desire to have non-Russians bear the brunt of the war at this stage could create domestic tension in these regions. Nothing like fighting an ethnic-based war in the East by using non-Russians to fight it for you, right? High levels of the ethnic Russians from fighting, preventing them from fighting from the Kremlin. Interesting. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So let's get into it here. The main effort, Eastern Ukraine, comprised of one subordinate and three supporting efforts. The subordinate main effort is the encirclement of troops in the cauldron between Izium and Donetsk and Lugansk oblasts. Supporting effort number 1 is Kharkiv City. Supporting effort number 2 is the southern axes. We're going to talk about mobilization and generation force efforts, and then we're going to finish up with activities in Russian occupied areas and go into what's going on in these annexed and attempting to annex some of these cities along the southern axes, and what's going on in occupied cities in the east. So let's get into it. Each individual front, there's 3 fronts in Ukraine. If you guys didn't hear it when I said it, each individual front, here's the southern axes, here is the east, the Donbass, and here is the Kharkiv Oblast along the international border with Belgorod. We're going to talk about each individual front here. There's 3 of them. Starting with the east. Let's zoom into it. I'm going to highlight some of the main cities here that are frequently talked about. Red being Russian cities, or Russian-controlled cities. Right there. Izium, Lyman, Severodonetsk, which has some partisan warfare going on. Elisjsha, Orlivka, Popasna. Show some of the Russian advance, or the directions they're advancing from with the red arrows. Okay, now I'm going to highlight some of the Ukrainian cities here in this cauldron in the east. You have Sloviansk here, Kramatorsk, and then we're going to highlight Bakhmut, Seversk, and Avdiivka. Oops, that's a little big. Avdiivka's not that big. Avdiivka. Real quick, highlight the ground line of communication supply line. E40 highway here goes northwest to southeast to Bakhmut, and then we'll do the T1302 highway here. Goes right into Elisjsha, and then the T0513, which connects Seversk to Bakhmut. Those are the 3 main supply lines, ground lines of communication that both the Russians and the Ukrainians use on a daily basis. Map key here to add to it. Red circles are Russian cities, or main focused Russian cities. Blue circle, main focus, Ukrainian cities. I do that terribly. And then purple, and this is for all 3 fronts, so I'm not going to redraw this again. All 3 fronts, that's a ground line of communication / supply line, or a road, right? That's your key. Also, red on the map in general is just assessed Russian advance. The yellow that you see on the map is claimed Russian control, so further advances into Ukrainian territory that is claimed from Russian sources. And then we're also going to see some light blue on some areas on the map, which is claimed Ukrainian counteroffensives, all right? Each area that I am talking about, I will use the lime green to reference it. So when I'm talking about Sloviansk, I'm going to circle it like that. And then each individual region that I am talking about, which something happened, I will circle it or call attention to it so you know where it's at. All right, let's get into it. Main effort, Eastern Ukraine, subordinate main effort, Southern Kharkiv, Donetsk, Lugansk Oblasts. Russian objective, encircle Ukrainian forces in Eastern Ukraine and capture the entirety of Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast, which was the claimed territory of Russia's proxies. Russian forces continue to conduct air and artillery strikes to the northwest of Sloviansk and may be preparing to resume offensive operations southwest of Izium towards Barankov on July 18th. So we are talking about Sloviansk first. We're talking about this region on our map. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces tried and failed to advance around Bazivka and Dramitka, both 20 kilometers northeast of Barankov, along the T2122 highway. Russian forces additionally conducted artillery strikes around Barankov in the areas of Koronivka and Vinohrapilia. Study of War previously assessed Russian forces may be attempting to set conditions for advances southwest of Izium to complement advances towards Sloviansk from the southeast of Izium or to open a new advance towards Kramatorsk, although Russian troops are unlikely to advance on Kramatorsk from Barankov due to the complicated cross-country terrain in this area. Russian forces also continued directly on Sloviansk on settlements to the east of Sloviansk, including Tetyanivka, Donetsky, and Strobarivka. The other thing in this area, they have rough terrain northeast of Sloviansk. There's lots of forest there, and then to the northwest of Sloviansk, so that would be south of Izium, it's wide open, like just wide open fields. It would just be anybody attempting to advance on Sloviansk from the northwest is going to be cannon fodder to the Ukrainians because it's just wide open here. That's it in Sloviansk. No territorial gains or losses, just artillery shellings and future planning. Next, we're going to talk about Siversk. That is this city, and we're going to talk about what's going on here and the Chechen forces that are advancing on that from the northeast. Russian forces conducted a series of unsuccessful ground attacks to the east of Siversk on July 18th. The Ukrainian General Staff stated that Ukrainian troops repelled Russian attempts to improve their tactical positions in the directions of Bilohorivka, Zolotarivka, Verkhotomanatsky, Zolotarivka, and Srebyanka, and Verkhotomyansky. A lot of V's and N's and Y's. Russian forces also conducted limited ground attacks near Spirny, about 10 kilometers southeast of Siversk, and continued to strike Ukrainian positions around Siversk. So unsuccessful ground attacks, just shellings from artillery, no gains or losses by the Russian military. Preparations for advancing on this city in Siversk. Next, we're going to be talking about the city of Bakhmut. That's south of Siversk, and this direction that I am circling in green on our map. Russian forces continued localized ground assaults south of Bakhmut on July 18th. The Ukrainian General Staff noted that Russian forces unsuccessfully tried to advance along the Mironivka-Vuhledar power plant line, about 20 kilometers southeast of Bakhmut. Russian forces conducted additional limited assaults on Novoluhansky and Samyria, also south of Bakhmut, but did not make any confirmed advances. Russian forces continued artillery, missile, and airstrikes around Bakhmut and struck Pokrovsky, Valslia, Dolnya, Kurdyamnivka, Traveni, Sumy, and Soledar. So just localized ground assaults. They unsuccessfully tried to advance. So no territorial gains by the Russian military, just artillery strikes on villages in the region of Bakhmut. And this is for July 18th, 2022. This is a day-to-day update for our map breakdowns. So you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see what happens beyond. Now we're going to be talking about Advidka. That's in this circle to the south of our map, in this region, with the green circle. Russian forces intensified ground attacks towards Adviivka on July 18th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian troops attempted to improve their tactical position around Verkhoturensky and Kamyanka, there it is, both the northeast of Adviivka. Donetsk People's Republic Representative Eduard Basurin claimed that DNR forces have completely blockaded the road from Adviivka to Konstantinivka, which is north of Adviivka, and have surrounded Adviivka in a semicircle. Former Russian militant commander and Russian nationalist mill blogger Igor Girkin noted that despite recent claims of successes around Adviivka, DNR units in this area are severely degraded. So Igor Girkin is turning into a troll for the Russians. He's turning into a little infighting troll, and unlikely to make substantial gains under the threat of heavy Ukrainian artillery fire. So he's a troll in general. I'm saying now he's trolling the Russian military by throwing the Ukrainian successes in their face because he's so fed up with how the Kremlin's operations have been going. So now, which I've talked about, these mill bloggers are making note of the Russian failures to troll the Kremlin, even though they are pro-war, or they're pro-Russia. Let them infight, whatever. Just don't. What I'm going to advise is to not go to these trolls as sources, despite they're giving credible information now. Don't go to them beyond just this time period, because then they're going to notice that and then use that and then now fool you, because they are pro-war at the end of the day. They're not on your side. They're just trolling the Kremlin at this time. Okay, keep that in mind. That's it. That's what's going on. No territorial gains or losses by the Russian military in the east. The operational pause has complete. Just shellings of villages and cities in this cauldron of the Donbass. That's it for July 18th in the east, in the Donbass region. Now let's get to the northeast, the Kharkiv Oblast in Belgorod, and the international border with Russia. Let me highlight highlight a few key cities within this region. Belgorod in red. Let me get Zolochiv. It's a thick circle. I'll make it work. And then the ground lines of communication supply lines between Belgorod and Kharkiv, which is the E105 highway. Why did that happen? I can't believe you've done this. E105 and then the T2117, which branches off the E105. And then you got the E40 highway, which goes right through Kharkiv, down into Izium, and back through Russian territory. Those are the three main ground lines of communication, supply lines on each side of the international border here with Ukraine and Russia, the E40 and the E105. The Ukrainians are shelling the T2117. The Russians haven't been using it to advance. The Russians haven't advanced at all here. They've only lost territory. They haven't lost anything further. Let's get the update. Russian forces focused on preventing Ukrainian forces from advancing to the Russian border in the Kharkiv Oblast on July 18th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces continued to carry out air, artillery, and missile strikes on civilian and military infrastructure in Kharkiv city and settlements to the north, east, and southeast. Russian Telegram channel Rebar claimed that Russian forces concentrated on striking Ukrainian positions in Chuhuiv on July 17th through the 18th. The Ukrainian main military directorate reported that CEDAR, Ukrainian GUR resistance unit, conducted a special operation in Demenivka, which is north of Kharkiv city, on July 18th. The GUR stated that Ukrainian forces conducted a limited, localized counteroffensive that pushed, quote, a large unit of Russian forces out of Demenivka. So, Ukrainians conducted a successful counteroffensive. That was here. So, Ukrainian dub up here. Right here. They've split the Russians on the border. They've split them up. So if anything, now the Ukrainians got a recent win on the northeast. It's been a stalemate for the longest, and the Ukrainians retook territory in the Kharkiv Oblast on July 18th, 2022. There you go. Ukrainian win up here in the northeast along the border. And they've only retaken territory here. The Ukrainians have, since they've pushed the Russians away from the capital city of Kyiv and pushed them to the east and the northeast in the Kharkiv Oblast, the Ukrainians have only gained territory. They haven't lost any. So yes, the Russians are in Ukraine. They are advancing to the south in the Donbass, in the east, in that cauldron of villages. They've only lost territory now as time has gone on in the northeast along this border. Let's see if that continues. All right, we'll see if that continues. Haven't seen anyone advance or gain any territory up here for quite some time. So today, July 18th, Ukrainian counteroffensive win to the northeast. Let's get to the south now. So between the east and the northeast, just a Ukrainian counteroffensive victory for territorial gains, or regains. If you're Ukraine, you're getting your own country back. All right, let's go to the south now. I'm going to highlight some main areas or main cities. You got Mykolaiv, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhia, Dnipro. Those are the main Ukrainian cities, or Ukrainian-held cities. Kherson, Melitopol, Mariupol, and then Nova Kakhovka, which continues to get shelled by HIMARS systems that apparently Russia put all of their ammunition depots there. And they have a bunch of them. Ukraine destroyed a huge one, and they're still blowing up more of them. How many ammunition depots do they put there? Mykolaiv, and the advance from the Ukrainian military there. Kryvyi Rih, showing the Ukrainian counteroffensive directions. And then finally, the main Russian ground line of communication on the southern axis, which is the E58. And that connects Kherson to Russia and touches all the cities along the southern axis. This is loosely. Goes all the way into Russia, through Mariupol and all. Let's get the southern axis update. Oops. Southern axis, Russian objective, defend Kherson and Zaporizhia oblasts against Ukrainian counterattacks. Russian forces focused on maintaining occupied lines and preventing a Ukrainian offensive along the southern axis on July 18th. So, Russians actually stopped a Ukrainian counteroffensive down here. Russian forces conducted airstrikes on Ukrainian positions along the Kherson, Mykolaiv, and Kherson, Dnipropetrovsk Oblast borders and settlements on the Zaporizhia Oblast front line. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian and Russian forces conducted mutual shelling strikes along the contact line in the southern axis. So, each side has been shelling each other between Mykolaiv and Kherson. And that's where if you watched earlier in the live stream, I made a goof, but this is where the main focus of the ground fighting between Mykolaiv and Kherson is, and where a lot of the shelling between the two cities is taking place. In the green circle, Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian and Russian forces conducted mutual shelling strikes along the contact line along the southern axis. Kherson Oblast officials reported that Russian forces conducted changing their concentration areas to densely populated areas in Kherson Oblast in an effort to deter Ukrainian strikes on Russian positions. Russian telegram channel Rebar claimed on July 18th that Ukrainian forces are increasing groupings of forces and equipment near the contact line in the Mykolaiv-Kryvyi Rih direction in preparation for an offensive on the Kherson Oblast. Big Ukrainian counteroffensive getting ready. They're getting ready for that. They've already struck two massive ammunition depots to the east of Kherson. The attacks in the Kherson Oblast have been picking up, the counteroffensives, the counterstrikes. There's going to be a big counteroffensive from the Ukrainians coming up in the coming weeks. Rebar also claimed that Ukrainian forces set up a pontoon bridge in preparation for a possible offensive across the Inhlowets River near Okrensky in the Kherson Oblast. That is the most realistic territory that the Ukrainians they're preparing for it. So it's going to happen, just depending on when. But just drawing a fictitious line for what I think the Ukrainians are able to take back at this time. I think they're going to go to Novokhovka now, the way they're just striking the city. Like here, that's green. Here's where I think the Ukrainians will be able to advance to, and then it'll take some years. It'll take time. It'll take a long time for the Ukrainians to advance east from their position here. And then all this blue. Turn this blue. In the Kherson Oblast. They're preparing for a massive counteroffensive here. They've already hit hard targets and they're preparing for it. So the Russians can't reload. They're hitting big, massive ammunition deposits here. The Russians have moved to defense in Kherson. They were full on Russifying it, giving out passports, pensions, and rubles. Now they got to go on the defense now because the Ukrainians are 10 to 20 kilometers to the northwest of the city. In terms of the rest of the southern region, I'm not sure about that. I don't know. The Ukrainians are going to have to come up with another significant counteroffensive strategy down here, get some more equipment. That's likely going to be in the winter time. This might take another few weeks before they get all of this. Might take it by the end of the summer to get all this region, but they're definitely mounting up to prepare for a counteroffensive on the Kherson Oblast and take this city back at least. We'll see where they go from there. I don't think they'll get any cities back in the east at this time. In the Donbass, the Russians are just too set up here. They have too many force capabilities here, despite how shitty they are. They just have a lot of it, and they're advancing west, whereas the Ukrainians in the south are advancing east. And then now, in the northeast, the Ukrainians are advancing towards the border and getting rid of the Russians off their border. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes, but Ukraine is definitely preparing for a massive counteroffensive on the city of Kherson and the Kherson Oblast. And they have a strong chance at taking that city back in the Oblast. July 18, 2022. Now let's talk about mobilization and force generation efforts. Nothing to talk about. Nothing to report for July 18th. We're going to finish up here with activity in Russian-occupied areas. Activity in Russian-occupied areas. Russian objective: consolidate administrative control of the occupied areas and set conditions for potential annexation into the Russian Federation. Russian occupation authorities continued efforts to facilitate the economic integration of occupied areas into the Russian trade economy. The Ukrainian Resistance Center reported that Russian authorities are nationalizing grain stores in occupied Zaporizhzhia Oblast under a unified Russian-owned state grain company. The report notes that Russian authorities are exporting up to 100,000 tons of stolen Ukrainian grain from Zaporizhzhia Oblast to Egypt, Turkey, and unspecified Middle Eastern countries. Leveraging grain exports will allow Russian authorities to tie Ukrainian products directly to their global trade networks. Steal Ukrainian products. I don't know why they put the word tie in there. They're literally stealing it. And that's it. That's the latest update with the ongoing travesty with the grain exports. The Russians in the Black Sea preventing the exports of grain, which Ukraine is one of the biggest grain exports in the world, is going to cause significant issues going in the future that we're not seeing right now. This is just, we're seeing the wheat fields on fire. We're seeing that the Ukrainian Resistance Center is reporting Russian authorities are nationalizing grain stores through a Russian-owned state grain company. So they're Russifying the exports out of Ukraine as well. and attaching those to Russian-owned companies. That's in the Zaporizhia Oblast. That's south of Zaporizhia. Leveraging grain exports will allow Russian authorities to tie Ukrainian products directly to their global trade networks and steal it. Stealing the resources, which is really what this is about. It ain't about no damn Russian speakers in the East. Russia doesn't care about them. They want Ukraine's land. They want Ukraine's resources. Just Russia gives me a headache. I feel ill. Key takeaways. The Russian Ministry of Defense's meeting with the leadership of the eastern grouping of forces in Ukraine suggests that the Kremlin will not focus on seizing Sloviansk at this stage of the campaign, but will instead prioritize attempting to seize Seversk and Bakhmut. Russian President Vladimir Putin's likely effort to put the burden of supporting operations in Ukraine on ethnic minorities to avoid conducting a general mobilization of ethnic Russians may be sparking resistance in ethnic enclaves in Russia, because they're using all their ethnic populations and they're not using any ethnic Russians. They're using everyone. They're using all sorts of other races and backgrounds that they conquered lands of, and they're using them. They're not using ethnic Russians to go fight a war for ethnic Russians. Russian forces conducted a series of ground attacks east of Seversk and south of Bakhmut. Russian forces intensified efforts to advance on Adviivka and conducted limited ground assaults along the Donetsk city-Adviivka front line. And Russian authorities are continuing to integrate occupied areas into the Russian trade economy. And that is your update for July 18th, 2022. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here on Mercado Media. You guys are in a wonderful audience every single day. You guys can look for map video update breakdowns at 2 p.m. Central every single day. Live streams at 8 p.m. Central time at night, where we go through the latest combat clips and footage and news that has come out of Ukraine within the last 24 hours. And then I provide the map update live to an audience at the end of it if you guys watch this video after the fact. Drop a comment below. Anything you guys would like to see going forward, a part of these map updates. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful time, whatever time of day you're watching this video. See you guys on the next one. Take care.